everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals. Welcome back to my channel. This is a journaling video working in my reading journal. I've already decorated the page, put a green border around the edges of the page, and then I stuck a photo of me reading this book. How I read it was at this holiday house in Oak Beach near Cairns. So back in August I went away on holiday with some of my family members for a week, and there was this lovely pool out the front, and we would often spend the mornings and the afternoons reading, and I managed to finish one book while I was there called What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell. I've already done a video on that. And then I was looking for another book to read, and this holiday house was great because it had a little bookcase, and most of the books were actually was a combination of fiction and non-fiction, but most of the non-fiction books were books that I would be interested in, so that was a bonus. And as I was looking for another book to read, I did try one called, I don't know what it's called, but it was about maps, about like the history of how maps were made. And at first it was interesting, but then I found myself not being very engaged in that book. I think it would be worth a read still though, but I just needed something more fast-paced, I guess. And so I was just looking at the bookshelf again, and I saw this one, The Art of Belonging. I always like those book titles that have the art of, like The Art of Work, or The Art of War, or The Art of Happiness, The Art of Joy, The Art of anything. I don't know, it's quite like that title. Case in point, my first print book is called The Art of Mental Health. I did not come up with that title myself though. Someone else came up with that title, but because that resonates with me, The Art of, I like that. Anyway, so that title kind of just grabbed me. I am a person who the cover definitely helps to decide if I'm going to read the book or not, and the name of the book definitely helps. Then I asked my sister, I was like, have you read this book before? Or anything by this author? Should I give it a go? And it happened that she had actually read it, so that worked out well. She said that she did like the author, and she had read other books by him, so that let me, go ahead and read that book and give it a go. And it held my attention, so much so that my mum was like, if you don't finish that book, you do know that you're allowed to take that home with you. And I was like, really? She said, at places like these, people drop off books and take books, and it's just kind of a thing that you do. And I even found inside the book, tucked in there, an old receipt from when the book was purchased, and that was kind of fun. It was like finding a little piece of history, and it was actually purchased in, I think, Collins Street in Melbourne. So that's kind of fun because I'm from Melbourne. And when I told my mum and my sister that, they're like, see, case in point, someone brought this book from Melbourne, dropped it off, and now you're going to take it away to Bowen and how they travel around. So I took it back with me on the train. It was a 9-hour train ride back to Bowen, and was reading it on the train, and then back here in Bowen I finished it. It was pretty engaging, interesting, and a challenging read, actually, thought-provoking, very interesting writing style. So I've never read a book like this where the author, he interwove research on this topic of belonging with a fictional story. So he created this fictional community, fictional town, and fictional characters in this town to demonstrate belonging, and how belonging can be facilitated and how it can be destroyed through research, informed by research. So it was very interesting to read. And the key idea of this book being that we are social creatures, humans are made for belonging, and when we don't engage in community, our identity as humans is diminished. So that's an interesting thought-provoking thought, isn't it? A bit of a challenging thought. And another challenging thought is this idea of community nurtures us as people, as individuals, but as humans, but we also have to nurture community. Like, it just doesn't just happen on its own, that we don't sit back and let the community nurture us. We actually have to be actively engaged in the community. It's a mutual thing, give and take, that kind of thing. And then another idea, yeah, we all have a desire to belong, and we all find greatest meaning in relationships and in social connections. And this reminds me of psychology in Seattle and attachment theory. And again, attachment theory and this book remind me of, I guess, the Bible and Christianity, and how, people were not made to be alone. We are made for a relationship. It's the foundational characteristic of humans, is that our part of our identity is that we are made for relationships. We are made for social connections. We are made for relationships. We are made to not be alone, and that we become fully human, and we realize that full potential and that full purpose and meaning in our lives, and even, happiness and belonging in our lives, when we have that sense of belonging. And we can obviously find that in community and family and in our social relationships. So very challenging, because for me, I do tend to be on the hermit side. You may have noticed from my channel, I'm very much a homebody. My ideal day is spent in my room, not seeing a single person. But even I know, as a hermit, as an introvert, even I know the importance of relationships, connections, friendships, family, of social connection, because I know I go batty, I go a bit crazy if I spend too much time alone. And I know it's not good for my well-being. Even as a hermit, as much as I love time alone, I know it's not good for me to spend too much time alone, because I get a bit twisted in my own head. And when you spend time with only your own company, I do find you sort of become less human. You become, self-absorbed. You become caught up in your own head. You get caught up. I find, if I do spend too much time on my own, cooped up in my room, I find it hard to engage again with the world. Donald Miller says this too. It's like, okay, I'm not alone. Donald Miller, my favorite author, he has the same thing. I love this quote where he says he's like those screwdrivers, electric screwdrivers or whatever, that he needs 10 hours of charging for 10 minutes of use. I'm like that. I need a lot of time alone to be able to engage with the world, but too much time alone, I sort of forget how to engage with people, because I'm too loony in my own world. And yeah, he's talked about that too. Like, you forget how to be in the world. And writers as well, and I guess artists can be like that too, because we make our own worlds up. We have no problem spending time in our own company, because our own mind entertains us, and our own imagination entertains us, and is our characters that we create, the worlds that we live in, they become what we know and what we live in, and so that we forget how to live in the real world. So yeah, I know how important it is for me, relationships, that we're made for it, that we become more human when we engage in those. I'm just going to loop this because I got more to talk about apparently. This is what I love about books, or one of the things I love about books, is that it's not just the enjoyment that you get from reading it, it's how they make you think about yourself, make you think about life, and challenge you. And I just love being made to think. It's one of my favorite feelings to have. So yeah, I fully am on board with what this book is talking about. I definitely agree with it, and it challenges me to, try to be more active in nurturing community, and really value that more. And because I do know the importance of it. Just as a hermit, my natural default mode is to withdraw and just be on my own and that kind of thing, which is great. Like if you like that, that's wonderful too. But yeah, for me, I know you do need balance for well-being, and I do know too as well, how I love my alone time. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. And I do need it as well for my well-being. But I do know as well that time with people is so good, so wonderful, so fulfilling, so meaningful, and just, the best thing too. So yeah, that is some long rambly thoughts on that book. I hope it was, enlightening. And yeah, I love how books can be like a mirror or a lens that you can hold up to yourself and to challenge yourself and to know yourself better and to know where you may be falling short in an area, where you could step up your game, and just, yeah, I love that thought-provoking, challenging truth that gets put into you and that then can help you live a better life. Alright guys, hope you're doing really well. If you've read this book or any books by this author, let me know. And if you have any thoughts on this, would love to hear in the comments, and we'll see you again in the next video, and stay tuned for more booktube videos in my reading journal. Be sure to journal your life because your stories matter, and I'll see you next video. Bye guys. A big thank you to my beautiful patrons who supported me in November. I hope you absolutely loved all of the extras this month. And if you would like to support me in December and get access to extra videos and printables, behind the scenes updates, and first access to any of my creations, the link is down below in the description box. The links are also down there to all of my journaling courses. The Reflections journaling course is running all through December if you would like to document your year for 2022. And if you would like to support my book fundraiser, the link is there to my GoFundMe page as well.